What's up, everybody? We got the fifth episode of The Penguin this week, but before we get into the breakdown, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos throughout the week. With that being said, let's get into the episode. This week's episode kicked off as Oz once again spoke of Rex Calabrese with Vic, but again, he seems to just be a gangster that Oz admired, not Catwoman's father. But he was remembering his golden car with the white leather seats as he and Vic burned his ride after the incident last week. With that war started, though, it's time for them to get their respect. They get right to that, targeting the weak spot of the Maroney family, Taj Maroney. He's the heir to Salvador's throne, and he's vulnerable because he's an idiot. They waste no time getting to him, and they're going to use him as leverage to get the bleeding mushrooms back. While Oz is at Blackgate, laying out the new deal to Salvatore and Nadia, he learns of the massacre at the Falcone estate. He also pays one of his guards, wanting Salvatore gone for good at 11 o'clock that night when he's going to take out the other Maronis. Anyway, over at the Falcone estate, Sophia gets a visit from Police Chief Bach. He's very curious about both her and Johnny Vitti, who she just happens to have chained up in the Falcone family tune. She and Oz aren't so different in that regard, as he's got Taj tied up in Eve's apartment, which she is not all too happy about. He's really bringing the heat down on her, and my Clayface theory regarding her character seems to kind of be dead with Clayface's appearance in the Creature Commandos trailer. Anyway, he takes Taj to the deal and sends Vic to his mom's house to keep her safe during this mess he's created. On the flip side, Sophia is torturing Johnny Vitti because she wants to know where Carmine hid his money. She's freezing him down there, but then he reveals the truth about the night her mother died. He was trying to help her leave Carmine before he killed her, so Sophia, she's gonna keep him around for now as they're both after respect, just like Oz and Vic. Then Victor makes his way to Oz's Ma's house, where he finds her amidst another episode with a burning pot on the stove. And I gotta say, Deirdre O'Connell deserves more screen time because she's just lights out every time she comes around. It's so impressive how she's been portraying the flipping in and out of cognitive phases for Francis. Next up, we went back to Blackgate, where Oz's plan to finish the Maronis began, as Sal is shanked by one of the guards, Oz's guard. Oz is going to take care of the rest as he goes to his deal with Nadia to return their son. Both parties end up double crossing each other, of course, as Nadia unleashes her men only for Oz to return the favor, setting Taj on fire after covering him in gasoline in the back of the van. He takes out both Taj and Nadia with that strike, which will end up being a massive, massive mistake, but Oz is basking in all of the glory during this moment, and Colin Farrell was amazing. But even after all that trouble, Penguin only got 2 buckets of the mushrooms out of the deal after setting off the fire system in the warehouse. On top of that, Sal, he survived the assassination attempt and killed the guard Mikey. Oz, he does flaunt about his wife, which is yet another move he's going to come to regret down the road. I think he kind of realized that he had started to dig for himself here too, though, as he calls Vic to get his ma somewhere safe. While all that's going down, Sophia gets a visit from Julian after the cops come asking about her. She takes out her Sophia Gigante jacket that belonged to her mother, and he lets her know that he wants in on whatever she's doing. And I hate to say it again, but I kind of do really think that he's Scarecrow at this point with all of his talk about wanting to feel stuff again. It's going back to, Scarecrow's inability to feel fear, as it seems Julian Rush wants a rush. Anyway, Sophia has survived with Julian and Johnny at her side. She announces that the Falcones are truly dead, creating the Gigante crime family as Johnny Vitti briefly pushes back on that, and it's only brief because she pops him in the head for disrespecting her. Christian Molotti continued to just absolutely dominate in this episode. Then we find Vic and Francis over in Crown Point as he takes his mother to one of his friend's old apartments, trying to avoid Squid, who's still there running the game, and also sees Vic going into the building. Vic and Mrs. Cobb, they share a nice moment inside that apartment, with both having reason to not want to be there. Just like Eve has a plethora of reasons to ditch Oz as he goes to pick her up and she breaks his heart. This was definitely Oz's true breaking point, as if he wasn't broken already, but he did really care about her. It was probably a good move on her part, though, as Salvatore Maroni gets a visit from Sofia Gigante out in the woods. They're joining forces to take out Oz and then take over Gotham. And this is kind of where I'm really starting to think we were lied to, and Pattinson's going to pop up in the back end of the show, or else it's kind of getting out of hand for Batman to not appear. But the focus is on Oz still, who arrives in Crown Point without Eve, only to be rejected by his mother too. This all but buried him, as he really needed her to embrace him at this moment until he found a boost of spirit in a Gotham City trolley coin. He thanks Vic for the job well done and even opens up about his brothers, Jack and Benny, who he says he lost to the city. I think he definitely sees a little bit of each of them in Vic as the two head to the trolley station, just like Oz and his brothers used to. When they're down there, Oz, he takes a moment when he passes a hatch that accesses the city water supply, I believe, and I can only imagine that maybe that's where he lost his brothers, as it's obviously a significant place to him though, and it'll now serve as his base of operations for the mushroom business. That was another great episode for the show that honestly hasn't missed yet. It did suck losing a couple cast members like Michael Kelly and Shohreh Aghdashloo, but I'm pretty sure that Theo Rossi is going to step up big time in these final episodes. And so that'll do it for my breakdown of episode 5 from The Penguin. It continues to expand Matt Reeves' Gotham, and I just can't get enough of it. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode, though, down in the comments below, and make sure you have a great day.